Hi everyone, good morning. 6 o'clock on your Wednesday. Welcome to Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Well, let's get you right to the forecast with meteorologist Thomas Patrick because he's telling us about a very rainy Wednesday ahead.
Yeah, and it's going to be quite rainy for this afternoon. A dry morning here in Spokane as we're still got mostly cloudy skies. Our temperatures hovering just above the freezing mark. Seems such like another typical March morning for us, but the rain is already on the west side and it's starting to get into central Washington. So let's go over to Doppler radar right now. And you can tell that for Grant County, for areas close to Moses Lake, you're going to be the first to get this rainfall. It's probably just a couple minutes away. In fact, you had a little shower within just the last hours already. This is pretty early for an onset, but if it continues at this pace, I would not be surprised if we start to get rain even before the noon hour in Spokane, but it's definitely an afternoon event for us. Widespread rain, meaning that it's going to be several hours worth of rainfall as opposed to just a couple minutes, which is the scattered showers that we've had the last 2 days. We are continuing to track a developing story we first brought you yesterday here on Up with KREM. The Utah women's basketball team says they were racially harassed on their way to a restaurant in Coeur d'Alene shortly after they arrived for the NCAA tournament.
So KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones is joining us live from Coeur d'Alene right now. So Brandon, can you tell us more about where the investigation currently stands?
Yeah, good morning, Tim, Channing. Well, after that press conference from Utah's head coach, I think the next 24 hours were filled with a lot of people heard. There was a lot of confusion and a lot of people just trying to figure out what exactly took place. So here's exactly what we know as of this morning. So first off, the Utah team was heading from the resort to a local restaurant here on Sherman Ave in Coeur d'Alene. That's when a truck, according to police reports, 2 pickup trucks began revving and speeding by them before turning back around and yelling the N-word at the team. The next day, the team left Coeur d'Alene and moved to a new hotel in Spokane out of fear for their safety.
I want to make it very clear and very loud that we condemn in the strongest terms those horrendous acts of hatred, and if the perpetrators can be found, we call upon them to be prosecuted.
Well, as you heard just from that moment right there, yesterday several leaders in Coeur d'Alene held a press conference to condemn the treatment that the student athletes from Utah faced, many of them offering an apology. And also Governor Brad Little released a statement saying there is no place for racism or hate here in Idaho. But of course, as we continue to learn new information, new details, we're going to continue to track this story, and once we have any information, we'll keep you updated as well. But for now, reporting live in Coeur d'Alene, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
And after the incident, we did reach out to the Spokane NAACP.
The president, Lisa Gartner, told us considering North Idaho's history, she's not surprised, but she is saddened. She adds that this kind of act requires more than just a formal condemning.
They were pushed out of the area, and this really falls in line and of those that hate rhetoric that we've been hearing of that's been coming out of that region and out of that state of Idaho for some time. And again, it's sad that I'm not surprised that it was Idaho that this happened. I watched the press conference that the mayor of Coeur d'Alene held this morning. And while they condemn hate, we all condemn hate, but it's what's the action that's going to follow it.
This morning, reactions continue to pour in from all around the inland Northwest, including from Idaho's Lieutenant Governor Scott Bedke, who said he's, quote, disgusted and angry about the disturbing events. Gonzaga University, which hosted the first and second round games, said in part, hate speech in any form is repugnant, shameful, and must never be tolerated. The North Idaho Republicans called it totally unacceptable and said, quote, there's no place for such individuals in the Republican politics.
Now, the story doesn't end here. Coeur d'Alene police are investigating this incident for potential criminal actions. They're actively looking for any video or recording of what happened. So if you saw what happened or have any video, you're asked to contact Coeur d'Alene police at the number there on your screen.
At KREM 2, we bring you more to every story.
So our Nicole Hernandez took a deep dive into the history of hate movements in North Idaho.
North Idaho's Aryan history started back in the early 70s. Richard Butler, an active member of white supremacist organizations in California, moved to Hayden, Idaho. That's where he founded the Aryan Nations, building a 20-acre compound. Over the next few decades, the region became a main hub for the neo-Nazi movement. In 1982, the compound in Hayden hosted the Aryan World Congress. The group passed out racist pamphlets and started having run-ins with the law.
It could have been worse. No one was hurt or killed.
In September 1986, white supremacists set off several bombs in Coeur d'Alene. One of the targets, this courthouse on Lakeside and 4th Avenue. Fast forward a few years to the Ruby Ridge standoffs in 1992. The 11-day siege was to arrest Randy Weaver, who had been to several Aryan Nations meetings. Over the course of the 11 days, members of the hate group showed up to protest the siege. Over the next few years, several bombings and bank robberies happened in Spokane that police later tied to an Aryan Nation splinter group called the Order. In April 1996, another set of white nationalists bombed Spokane City Hall.
When the bomb exploded outside this building.
No one was hurt in those bombings, and that bomber is still in jail. Through all this, Richard Butler hosted Aryan Nation marches in North Idaho. This is video from a 1998 march.
2, 4, 6, 8. We don't want your racist hate!
Even in the thick of these marches, the community was fighting hate in their region.
So are you saying you're not proud to be white? You need to be proud of being white.
This isn't just the Aryan March. This is Aryan/Nazi March. Look at the Nazi sign at the Aryan Nations compound. Nazism as a political ideology is based on human rights violations. As a human being going in the 21st century, I can't stand by and just watch that.
Butler was still attending these events, though, fueling the fire. Despite all the run-ins with the law, it took this mother and son to finally take down the organization. In 2001, the duo, along with Southern Poverty Law Center, sued the Aryan Nations and won. That effectively bankrupted the group. The group ultimately started disbanding after Butler died in 2004.
In the newsroom, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
The time now is 6:08. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. Happening today, a meeting will be held in Medical Lake for survivors of the Gray and Oregon Road fires. Both FEMA and the U.S. Small Business Administration will give updates on loan applications and answer questions from survivors. Now, the meeting starts at 6:30 tonight at Medical Lake High School. This morning, 3 adults and 1 teen are in police custody. They are accused of robbing and pepper spraying a couple before stealing their money and a backpack. Police arrested the group shortly after and booked them into detention facilities. We are told the couple in the attack are doing okay. Continuing coverage this morning, the man charged with hitting and killing a Washington state trooper pleaded not guilty. Police say Raul Benitez Santana slammed into Trooper Christopher Gadd's patrol car on the side of I-5 in Marysville earlier this month. Santana is charged with vehicular homicide and assault. His trial is scheduled for May 17th. That is a look at your morning rush.
This morning, 2 soldiers are recovering from a helicopter crash at Joint Base Lewis McChord. The crash happened on base during a training exercise Monday night. The 2 service members are now in stable condition, but people who live near the base say they're used to hearing military helicopters on training missions. But one neighbor says Monday night's flyover was different.
We heard the rotors kind of, they were off kilter, like it was just slower than normal. And we both said, this isn't normal.
A military team from Alabama is now handling the investigation into the crash.
Just about 6:10 this morning, a day where we're going to get rainfall. When I say going to get rainfall, I mean 100% chance of rain. That's why it's going to be a widespread rain for us, especially this afternoon for the Spokane area. Central Washington already starting to see some rain just start to push in. So that's where we stand for today, and then we're back to more scattered opportunities for rainfall Thursday and Friday. But because of the rain, it will be slightly cooler overall. We just won't get any sunshine in the afternoon. That's why our high temperatures are likely just mid-40s for today. But we are still uphill heading into the weekend. Easter weekend is looking quite nice in the upper 50s, and then we got 60s back in the forecast next week. But coming up, I'm going to time out when that rain does arrive today. So that's all coming up.